2026. Every block, every ballot, every voice. This ain't left or right. This is right now. OVC. Teachers shaping minds. Vets who stood strong. Gig workers hustling just to get along. Parents, elders, first-time voters in line. Same clock ticking, same moment in time. No dark money whispers. No backroom deals. Daylight choices and the truth that's real. Labels don't own us. We bigger than signs. Accountability lives where democracy thrives.
Our vote counts. Yeah, remember the name. Every voice heard. We don't play no games. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future. United we found. Our vote counts. Stand tall, no doubt. Integrity first. Let the people speak loud. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future. United we
Clear
found.
facts, no spin. Education unlock. Breaking down the process from the door to the box. Who earns the trust? Who shows up to serve? Asking the questions. Leaders got nerves. Neighborhoods talking. Town halls packed. Local voices first. Yeah, we built it like that. Different faiths, views, so walking as one. Democracy stronger when we all get it done. Yeah.
Our vote counts, yeah, remember the name. Every voice heard. We don't play no games. From coast to coast, let the movement expand. Power in the people, future in our hands. Our vote counts, stand tall, no doubt. When we show up informed, that's what it's all about. Our vote counts, stand tall, no doubt. When we show up informed, that's what it's all about.
This ain't no cycle. Nah, this is a standard. Long-term vision, principles planned from schools to the boards up to the higher seats. We connect the dots from the block to the streets. Peaceful power, respect and demand. Integrity measured by actions, not plans. OVC active, participation mounts. When the people stand ready, turnout counts. Yeah.
Our vote counts, yeah, remember the name. Every voice heard. We don't play no games. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future. United we found. Our vote counts, stand tall, no doubt. Integrity first. Let the people speak loud. From the city to the plains, let freedom resound. Different stories, same future. United we found.
Every voice,
Every voice,
every vote.
every vote.
Integrity, inclusion, accountability. OVC.
OVC.
Yeah. 2026. My vote counts. And so does yours.
That's our vote counts, y'all. That's our theme song. Because our vote counts, and so does yours. Let me. Here we go. Hello, 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 everybody. How are we doing today on this auspicious? Is it Wednesday? I don't know. My days be running together. But I hope you all are good out there. I hope your weather's good. My weather wasn't too bad today. We were about at 50 degrees, so I'll take that for a March. I would take 50 degrees in March. I'm glad you all are here. Make sure you're tapping that screen. You're sharing this out to everyone. Let me go ahead and put this on my story. Let me see. Oh, I was trying to send me live. I'm already live. All right. Let's see. Add to my. So Hello, Miss Rhonda. All right, I'm going to send you the invite so you could come on up. Hold on. Here we go. So I sent it to you. Just hit the yes on there. Perfect. Hi.
Hi. I'm sorry.
What?
I feel like an old person.
We get that way sometimes. We do. We do.
How do I turn
So
my
with
camera on?
okay, so you see the camera button.
Oh, there it
Okay, just and you have to hit save.
is. Okay. And no background?
Well, once you come on, you should be able to have a background. So now, what you're gonna do? Hi. So what you're gonna do is let me see if it's so
You
hit
can
your
tell us.
screen with like
Okay.
tap your picture of yourself, and
Yeah.
then you see effects, right? And when you see
Yeah.
effects, scroll to the left, and then you should see like a arrow up. Hit that arrow, and then you should see some words come at the top. The to the right, you should see green screen.
Okay, hold on. So I'm so sorry, everyone. I feel really stupid. I don't
So
see any words.
okay, so you did get to the green screen. Okay, so
No,
now
I'm
that you on the green screen, hit the plus
so
sign.
oh, plus sign.
Uh-huh, and that's going to bring your pictures up.
Yes.
And then you can pick your background and hit save again.
Oh my god, this is crazy. Uh, can I just do a black background? Is that super weird? I don't know. Oh my god. Maybe I'll just do my room because I feel
That's fine. We good with that. We good with
okay.
that. Let's get this show on the road.
Sorry. Sorry.
How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
All right. We got any snow in Michigan today?
No, it's melting. Thank
Good.
God. Yeah,
Good.
it's
We
melting.
it tried to snow again here in DC a little while ago. I think Monday, and we was like, nope, get out of here.
No. Yeah, I totally
Uh,
hear you. We're sick of it too.
exactly. Well, let me welcome you to the show and remind you and everyone else of who we are. We are Our Vote Counts, a nonpartisan coalition of citizens from diverse states and backgrounds, united by a shared commitment to empowering voters, promoting candidates who stand for integrity, inclusion, and accountability in the upcoming elections. Through voter education, candidate outreach, and community engagement, we support leaders who are ready to serve the people, not special interests. By working across state lines, elevating local and national issues, we aim to increase voter turnout, inform public dialogue, and build momentum for lasting change. Our vote counts is more than just a name, it's a promise, it's a movement, and a rallying cry for democracy. Together, we are shaping the future, one informed vote at a time. So I want to introduce everybody tonight to Miss Rhonda Yates. I heard a little research that she goes by Ronnie.
Oh, actually, I don't, but you can. Like, my father went by Ronnie and he hated it. So, like, he refused to let anyone call me that. But you can.
Oh no, I will call you Miss Rhonda. And she
Okay.
is running for Michigan state house seat in Michigan, District 55. And so we are glad to speak with her today. Just give me 1 second, Miss Rhonda.
Oh, please. You were so patient with me and my lack of tech skills. So,
All right, so someone's coming to clean my office.
oh,
And so I was
someone needs to clean mine.
well, let me tell y'all a little bit about what I found out about Rhonda. She is an educator and a nurse and a neighbor who grew up in rural Mississippi to a father who served in the U.S. Navy and was a public school teacher himself, and a mother who was a lab tech for the Department of Agriculture for 32 years. both of them growing up in Oklahoma. Rhonda taught English as a second language for over a decade. She then decided to become a nurse once she saw the impact the pandemic had on the world. Currently, she's living in Rochester Hills, Michigan, where she is taking care of her mother who is surviving cancer and pursuing a PhD in nursing. And she's been volunteering, y'all. She's doing a lot. So, Rhonda, we'd like to do a little icebreaker. So tell me how you go from being a teacher to overnight becoming a nurse.
Yeah, it's a great question. So actually, I started teaching English as a second language I started working with families in 2012, and then officially got my degree in 2015. That was not, if you think about the timeline of American politics, this wasn't the best time to start working with immigrants. So the field had been declining for a while. And of course, COVID, I was teaching university students, and the pandemic shut down embassies around the world. So students couldn't get visas. They couldn't come to the United States, even if they wanted to. So I started retraining in nursing. And the first semester into my nursing program, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. So that was crazy. But yeah, I had been on COBRA insurance through the pandemic because we lost our jobs. And so I thought, oh my God, I have to get this nursing degree as quickly as possible because COBRA. And then I got diagnosed with cancer. So very stressful, but I do understand how, at least a piece of how people feel when these terrible things happen to us. And it's part of why I'm running.
I mean, but that's an excellent thing that you find out that you're dealing with or going to have to battle an illness, and you still took the time to help other people battling with illnesses. That's amazing. That's what we want in Congress, y'all. Well, we can't get her in our Congress. She's going to just be in Michigan Congress. But that's cool, too. That's cool. We good with that.
The Michigan House, yeah.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little town hall here where I'm going to ask you questions from about 5 topics. In between those topics, we're going to do what's called a rapid fire. And those are going to be like quick one word or yes or no answers to the questions. So I'm going to roll right on through that. So our first topic that we are going to talk about is the economy. Now, Kamala Harris campaigned on cracking down on price gouging. Since she did not get elected, we are still facing that issue. What can you do for Michigan that will address this issue of price gouging that will help the fellow Michigan people?
So unfortunately, Michigan has received an F rating for transparency in government. We have a lot of work that we can do here in Michigan as far as being more transparent about, for example, where money is coming from. So you don't want to crack down on something that you benefit from personally. And that's a problem. So I think working on our transparency laws is important here in Michigan. We need to know who's contributing to whom and how those votes are translating, if they are translating. So I feel like that's the transparency piece alone, I feel like would be substantially helpful in a lot of issues that we have here in Michigan, including price gouging, things like prohibiting state reps and state legislators from benefiting off of drugs that are sold here in Michigan, like banning stock trading and stuff like that. But we don't even know the extent of what's going on because we're so not transparent. So I feel like it's not maybe a satisfying answer, but I feel like
okay. So we want to get more transparent, and folks will be able to get they'll know what's happening with their prices. Well, since the prices aren't coming down, we need wages to go up. So, what will you support in the state house to raise wages for the average Michiganer? Is it Michiganer?
Yeah, so Michigander or Michiganian. Some people, I prefer Michigander, but
Okay.
no shade on anyone who does not. So absolutely, we have wage problems here in Michigan, and just like everywhere else. And one of the issues that we have here is you probably know Michigan is a very union friendly place. The unions sort of were born here. We have a lot that we can do with our union workers, as well as raising the price of minimum wage and taking care of each other. And I think a huge problem is health insurance, right? And so there are initiatives to make a universal healthcare plan here in Michigan, which would then allow our unions, if that were off the table, they could then negotiate for better wages. Even our nurses are in unions, our teachers are in unions. There's a lot of union stuff here. And I strongly believe I'm in a union. I believe in supporting them and allowing them ways to negotiate. But yeah, we have some big issues. And then it comes to our small businesses. We have a lot of small businesses in my district, and there's a lot of concern about if we raise the price of minimum wage, are we going to run our small businesses out? So I would really like to sit down with local people and have those intimate conversations about what is realistic and what can we do, because our kids are not thriving right now. There has to be a path forward that we all come together and have a conversation.
Absolutely.
I
And
don't pretend I have all the answers.
right. And that was kind of going to be my next question, was about small businesses and farmers. Because they're staples in the economy, in Michigan's economy, and the United States economy. What ideas can you bring to the state house concerning stabilizing that in both of those industries, and making sure that it's attainable for the citizens?
Yeah. So as a nurse and an educator, I like to be transparent that small business is not, I don't own one. So I definitely would want to have those I have been having those conversations, but collectively as groups, let's talk about what this looks like. Having been the kid of my mother's grandparents and parents, they were all farmers for generations. And I do think that one of the major problems we have is that we've left behind our farmers, and we don't reach out to them, we don't talk to them, we don't have conversations with them as much as we should. In my district, it's more small businesses than farms, but I really believe in having those conversations. And what is it that you need? What if we could somehow take healthcare off the table for you and you didn't have to pay for this piece? What would that do? How would that transform for you? And I really want to talk to people who have they're the only person in their business versus someone who has 5 people, 20 people, etc. And I want to understand more as well, because right now I don't think the system is working for everyone. And I think we can find a way to make that happen. I don't know if I'm naive or an idealist, but I think there's a path forward. We need to sit down and talk about what that looks like.
I'm a vote idealist. There's always an answer. And I think that's a good answer. If you take the burden of healthcare off of those two industries, that they can focus on building better. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I think too, to be honest, it's not necessarily my purview, but with our immigrants being afraid right now, that's not helping our farms and it's not helping our small businesses. So that's something that there are things we could do in the state legislature to help our immigrants feel more comfortable.
With that being said, if I'm not mistaken, Michigan is a sanctuary state.
We're not.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's been laws. There are people who would like to make sure we never have any sanctuary anything. So
Understood.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know
Yeah.
how. I'm gonna leave that alone. Let's go into education. It's just we're talking about the immigrants. As I pointed out earlier, that you taught English as a second language to immigrants that came here to America for a better life, and you talk about a little bit about how to strengthen that you want to strengthen those programs in the public school sector. What ideas do you plan to bring to the state Congress to get the funding for the language barriers, the special ed, learning English as a second language? What's your plan on that?
So I don't think that Michigan is much different than any other state. We have funding issues, especially with the federal government now tampering with how much money they want to send. Um, in Michigan, I don't know what other people outside the state have heard, but we have a fix the damn roads component, and our governor Gretchen Whitmer sort of ran on fixing the roads. Not solely, but part of her goal is to fix our roads. So the winters are terrible on our roads, but we also have been falling behind in our education system. And for decades, the Michigan education system hasn't been funded properly. So in the last 8 years, our governor, Gretchen Whitmer, has done a really good job in moving us forward, but that ball needs to continue going forward. So we really need to, we have some weird tax things here in Michigan. And so corporations have been receiving large tax breaks, and we have the very wealthy do pay the same as everyone else. And so there's no like sliding scale there. And I think that we need to look at these things and have conversations about them, because we have a lack of funding like many other states. But we just fell to 44th in the nation for literacy and math scores by fourth grade. So we really are going to have to take some things seriously and look at how we're taxing, I think, to come up with the revenue. And of course, everyone freaks out. I'm not talking about taxing the middle class, but we have huge corporate tax breaks, and we need to talk about this stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I mean that's what I'm hearing across the board, at least on the D side, that the corporations need to pay their fair share,
It
and
certainly feels like our kids are suffering because it feels that way from this side. If others have a different perspective, I'll listen, but we need to have a real conversation about this.
absolutely. Now, we have heard a lot about these vouchers that are
Oh,
happening all over, and you speak about fully funding public schools. Um, how has this impacted Michigan?
our house is currently discussing vouchers for the state of Michigan, and this is could potentially. I don't see it passing the Senate, our state Senate, but vouchers are. I live in a more affluent area of Metro Detroit, and we have good public schools. They rank higher than the state average. In general, people move here for the public school system. To allow vouchers is going to significantly hurt people in our district, who can then take those vouchers and send their kids to different schools. So I am not supportive of that. We'll see what happens in the House. I don't expect our state Senate to pick it up, but we'll see.
We'll see. We will see.
We'll see how the people react to that. It's not popular with the folks that I've been talking to.
I understand. That's good. That's a good thing. That the people, the powers that be may be on the side of making sure that they don't use public funds to
Right.
to fund private schools, and that's a good thing.
Right.
So you also talk about mental health and after school programs being a very essential part of our education system. So, what plans do you have to get the funding for those services of mental health and after school programs for the kids?
Yeah, I attend a lot of school board meetings, and I talk to high school and newly graduated high school students, and there's a lot, and I teach at the university here. I teach linguistics at the local university, and my students
Everything.
they are really struggling. I hear a lot from older people, like my age, older people, that Gen Z is lazy and Gen Z wants everything handed to them. That's not what I see in my classroom, and that's not the experience at all. They work harder than I did when I was in high school. And in college, they don't have as much fun as I did in college, and they're worried about their future. So this is mental health, right? They don't know if they have a future, how they're going to pay for a house or a car. And I think that we absolutely have to have mental health services in schools and have access to that. And then the other piece you asked me about, I'm so sorry, was mental health
after school.
Yeah, thank you. Woo! Chemo brain. It just flew out. Yeah, after school. So my personal experience with after school is we didn't have that option when I was in school, and my mother worked full time and my father worked full time, and it's like, what do we do with this kid? It's tough. It's part of helping women actually to fund after school programs, because often, at least historically, it's been women that have borne the weight of childcare. So I think it's necessary for the state, again, to have these tax conversations. But I fully understand that we're in a bind right now with the federal government cutting funds to states. I think there are things we can do. And again, I want to see that transparency piece. I feel like it's all interconnected, that we can't divorce any of it. It all comes together. And I'm really eager to get in there and see what the heck is going on. What are these sticky threads, and how can we start to unravel them?
And where is the money really going? I mean, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that you didn't have after school programs, but when I was growing up, which probably wasn't too far from when you were, but we did. But I just said I was in them so I could go do bad stuff. But y'all didn't hear that from me. Miss Ayana, thank you for coming up today. You have a question for Miss Rhonda?
Hello, yes, Miss Rhonda. Hello. Hello,
Hi.
ButterMel. Hi. I lived in Michigan for one whole year of my life.
Amazing.
Yeah, I know. My son, who is now 21, was born at the University of Michigan Hospital, and I loved it. I loved Michigan. You know what? Because it reminds me so much of my home, Ohio. Love it. They're like twin sisters, fraternal twins. They're fraternal twins. But one thing I've seen in Ohio that I'm not seeing in Michigan, and I'm wondering if you could speak to this. There seems to be a takeover in Ohio politics of that kind of severe Republican way of governing, and Michigan has managed to escape that. What do you think? It is the state house responsible for that, or is it I don't know, because I always saw them as being kind of politically similar. And now Ohio's becoming more red and Michigan's becoming more blue. And it hasn't seen a lot of the angry MAGA. We saw some things we saw in Dearborn, where we had people harassing Muslims and etc. But what's happened to the surrounding states, Indiana and Ohio, it's not happening to Michigan. What do you think accounts for that?
I think that's actually an amazing question. And as a linguist, my study, and nobody cares, but my study is in sociolinguistics.
I care.
effects of language on society and society on language. So that's a very interesting question, I think. We saw the trifecta, if I'm not mistaken, in Ohio was the Republican trifecta, and they really
Right.
used their power to affect. I don't want to use too harsh a language, but to
Yeah.
affect the state. And in Michigan, actually in 2018, we had a trifecta of a different nature, which was a Democratic trifecta. So our state went blue, and then it went, now our House is red, but our state Senate and our governor is still Democrat.
Mhm.
So I think that really helps. My father used to say, you don't want everything to be the same. You want a little push and pull, so that people have to compromise. Now, he died in Trump's first term, like a few months in, so he didn't get to see how the world has changed. But I think it's really interesting that Ohio has taken a turn red, and Michigan, it remains very purple. Like my district voted for Harris, or our county went blue for Harris, and yet my district voted in a Republican in the House, the Michigan House. So this is very straight. We're not like straight one color, you know. I think people here really identify as I'm independent. I look at the character of the person. I'm not sure what that is societally, but I love that question.
Oh, I also have another question. Your district, like the income, the median, was it median income? Average income of your district is higher than the
Yes.
state average.
Yes.
How do you plan on translating that into policy when you get into office? Like your district is doing well.
Yes.
Maybe a lot more of the districts in the rest of the state are not doing as well. How do you plan to reconcile that? I know you're going for your district, but really, I mean, you're governing for the whole state. Ultimately, you're making law for the whole state.
Yeah, I think that's a really astute question, and it's something that I also ask myself, because I'm running to protect. Honestly, my goal was I want to protect people. If the federal government has abdicated its responsibility to protect the people, it is now important that the state take up that mantle.
Yes.
And when people in my district already feel comfortable and they feel happy and they feel like cocooned, how then do you run on, we need to protect our neighbor? I do believe that in my district, people genuinely care about each other. They genuinely, I know it sounds hokey, but we really, I've lived here since 2011. People are kind and people look out for each other. We roll each other's trash cans in. Like it's a very, I don't know, reminds me of my Southern roots. People are kind. And I think watching some of the policies that have happened, and then watching our state legislators vote in a way that harms our neighbors, our friends, the people who work in our stores, people don't like it. And a lot of people, even people who voted in 24, the opposite of me, they don't like this. They don't like what they're seeing. So I am optimistic that the people in our community will see the harm that's being done, and that they will not want that for our neighbors.
Okay. I can get on board with that. Thank you very much, Rhonda.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you,
welcome.
ButterMel.
Thank you for coming up, Miss Ayana. You have a good evening.
You too.
Yes, thank you.
She always come with the great questions. I promise you. She puts
Yeah,
me.
really smart questions. Yeah.
So we're going to go into our first rapid fire. And this one has to do with a little bit of politics. So state minimum wage, raise or keep the same?
Raise.
Okay. Medicaid expansion, support or oppose?
Medicare for all.
Medicare for all. Your pew-pews, those weapons. 'Cause we can't say the GUN word. Tighten or loosen?
Tighten.
Okay. Public schools need more funding or just rearrange what we have?
More funding.
Okay. Renewable energy, should we invest more or keep fossil fuels?
Invest more.
All right. Should your state have universal pre-K?
Yes.
State income tax, increase or cut?
Ooh, for who?
Everyone.
For who? No more raises on middle class.
Okay, that's what you heard, her, y'all. No more raises on the middle class, not state income taxes. Now, what should we fix first, the roads or the public transit?
Ooh. Oh, this is a chicken and an egg question. I'm going to say roads, but only because you tear up public transit if you don't have good roads.
Correct. That is the correct answer.
Yeah, I'm like, you need both, but the roads are toe up, like we say back home.
Rent control, support or oppose?
Oh, rent control. Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Lastly,
out of control.
should we add more bike lanes?
Oh, you know what? We could use bike lanes here, but people bike on the sidewalks here. They do, and you can almost get run over.
Okay, so they need some bike lanes in Michigan.
We
All
need
right.
a bike lane here, so we don't run over people on the sidewalk.
All right. So let's talk about your other specialty, which is health. You talk a little bit about a nurse to patient ratio staffing issue. And as we know, the more hospitals that close down, the more patients going to have to go to one particular place, and the nursing staff will be overwhelmed. How will you make sure that the nurse to patient ratio stays pretty even and manageable?
So the Michigan Nurses Association has been trying for 2 decades to get laws passed here, bills passed that would manage nurse workload, and part of that workload is our nurse to patient ratio. The research is very clear about what happens on a medical surgical unit, which is where a lot of us end up, right? What happens when nurses have more than 4 patients? Our likelihood of having a fatal event increases for every patient that a nurse has over 4. And this, in the ICU, we have numbers for that, mother, baby, like we have numbers, we know the data. I think it's really, really important that we talk about this, especially in a state as large as Michigan. So my district has a hospital, but it's a small hospital. It's a trauma 3 hospital, I think. So trauma 1 would be the big ones. We have to, there's a helipad at our local hospital, and they sometimes have to, helicopter people out. These hospitals are going to start closing, particularly in the UP, which I don't know, many people know about Michigan, but we show where we live on our hand. And then there's this other piece up here. This other piece up here is called the Upper Peninsula, or the UP. And the hospitals are going, they already have to helicopter people down to the Lower Peninsula. It's just going to be catastrophic. People are really unprepared for what's coming. So yeah, I think the data, having those conversations, maybe dragging some legislators into the hospital to do like a shift with a nurse might help them understand what we go through on the floor. So
that sounds like a great idea. I think you should propose that tomorrow across the country.
Yeah, and not in their suits, not a VIP treatment. I mean, like, you're wearing your scrubs and you're going in, you sign the HIPAA, and you like you're wiping butts with everybody else.
I was saying, now I hope they get a sickly child in there that just goes, blah.
I know. Yeah, or urinal spills on them. Yeah.
And you say, well, that wouldn't happen if we had another nurse in here. I mean,
yeah.
So you also talk about, lowering prescription cost and hospital costs for people. How can you effectively help Michiganders with their prescription costs and hospital costs, and even insurance coverage at the state level?
So this like I told you, sticky web of crazy. This goes back to transparency. So other states have passed state laws that don't allow legislators to have stock in prescription drug companies that sell to the state. This is brilliant, and we need stuff like that. We need to know where the money's going, where the money's coming from, and who's intertwined with whom. So I am really big on things like that. We see what's working in other states, and we need to say, okay, let's bring this to Michigan. But I think transparency is part of that. What is going on? And then lawmakers should not be able to buy stocks in drug companies that sell, So I think that's part of lowering prescription drug costs, is seeing whose fingers are in the pie. And we do have lawmakers who are they are floating the proposals of, it's called MyCare, which would be universal health care in Michigan. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we prefer it nationally, but they are getting ideas from Michiganders and having forums to have those discussions. What are we missing? What would it look like? It wouldn't pass the state house right now with the Republican majority, but I'm very happy to see we're having that conversation.
Absolutely. Lastly, you talked about investing in interpreter services.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little more about that. Where do you see the need for interpreters?
So I, again, don't want to assume that everyone knows the makeup of our area, but we're not too far from Dearborn, and Dearborn has the largest Middle Eastern population, or North. I don't like the term Middle Eastern, but that's a whole linguistic thing, so I'm just using it as a shortcut. But the largest outside of the actual Middle East or North Africa. So what I saw a lot in the hospital, when I first started, we had one translation device. It was like an iPad. And you can call in and you can get a live interpreter to talk to you. I ended up one night having a patient from Bangladesh, and he spoke Bangla, and he started going septic. So it means he had an infection in his blood, and he was starting to take a downturn. So the doc orders antibiotics. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go in and give him antibiotics. And I try to use the machine, and he wouldn't let me. He said no. And I tried to explain to him he needed to take antibiotics.
Who wouldn't let you? The patient or the doctor?
Patient.
Okay.
The patient. Yeah, he had a brain metastasis, so cancer in his brain. He didn't know what was going on. And he had no family at the bedside, and there was no interpreter at the bedside. And I ended up turning on the machine, but I promise you, it took 45 minutes to get an interpreter on. And time is important when someone is going septic. So I saw firsthand how our patients who don't speak English natively, honestly, let's be honest, even native English speakers do not understand medical talk. It's a totally different ballgame. So when you come into a patient who might speak conversational English, but they can't speak medical English, and now I need your permission to start this IV of antibiotics, it was terrible. I have many, many stories of patients not getting adequate translation services in the hospital. And this needs to be a priority because it's actually costing taxpayers more money. When that patient goes septic and ends up in the ICU for 3 days, costs a lot more money than just getting interpreter services available at the hospital. And he's not an isolated incident in our area.
Right. That sounds like a winning argument there, that we can save a lot more money if we just put the proper people in the proper spaces. 100% agree. So let's talk a little bit about corporations. Now, you state that you refuse all corporate PAC and super PAC money.
Yes.
So my question to you is, do you think that some PACs are good, or should they all just be banned? Should money be banned in elections?
Oh my gosh. I would love for money to be banned. Or like in Europe where they give you a set amount of money and that's it. When it's gone, it's gone. And if you blow it on a clown at a birthday party, that's your problem. Like it's gone. I know a lot of people want to talk about the Citizens United. But the I have seen very good people who say, I'm capped at donating X amount of money, whether it's in my race, the cap is $1,225, $1,225 is the cap. And some people it's 3,000 or whatever. And they'll say, I really love this candidate and I want to get them elected. So I'm going to start a PAC. And my friends and I can donate 10,000 to this PAC or 15,000 to this PAC. And then this PAC can now give all the money to the candidate. I understand that people like to do this kind of thing, but in my honest opinion, money is so influential in our politics that our voices are sometimes drowned out by dollars. If people see a name over and over and over and over and over again, sometimes they associate that name with good things. Oh, they sent me 12 mailers, so they must know what they're doing. It really just means they have a lot of money. It doesn't equate to experience or
intention.
So, yeah, I really, to be completely honest, don't like that money equals, honestly, in some cases, votes. We also see cases where candidates can buy, what are they called? Consulting services from someone who used to be in office. And if I buy your consulting services, now you'll endorse me. And it's just like, I don't know. It gets really gross. And I guess I'm like you, an idealist. I really think that people should bring their ideas forward on the table. We talk about those ideas and we vote on those ideas, not on, I don't know, who has the biggest banner or whose name can go at this. And we saw with Mom Donnie, Mom Donnie was out, he wasn't expected to win. So we see where people are now getting energized and really vocal about not allowing money to be the determining factor in elections.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see.
Mandani put in the legwork. We know that.
He worked hard.
And but we also see how the flip side of that, with the Senate race from yesterday, it was, to my knowledge, a lot of money was put into promoting or even opposing the other side. So, meaning Tallarico and Jasmine Crockett. Like I said, to my knowledge, a lot of money was put into the less experienced Tallarico from PACs. And so we see the results of that. So it could go, like you said, we if we don't have it and we put in the work, it can win. But we also see how the money can also influence the votes too.
It's a reality, that sometimes I know everyone here probably knows you can work really hard and still lose. You can work really hard and still fail an exam, or sometimes there are money. We fight, we do our best, we bring our arguments to the table. And I think at the end of the day, we have to be comfortable falling asleep and knowing I did everything. There wasn't one more thing that I could have done.
Yes.
I'm sure that Harris had a hard time swallowing that pill because I know she worked really hard and a lot of people worked hard with her.
Yes.
You just can't give up the ship, never give up the ship.
Absolutely. Now you talked a lot about transparency. And let's talk about honest budgeting. How influential are you going to be in the state capitol on making sure that the budget is being honestly projected? And what steps are you going to take to make sure accountability is present?
So I think that's really important, and I never want to lie or misrepresent to anyone. The state house, everyone's state house, state senate, even at the federal level, they're team sports. I would be one of 110. There would be 110 people in the house. You have to have coalitions of people. We have to, as voters, it's incumbent on us to listen to the candidates who resonates with us. So I love primaries. People keep saying, oh, we don't want primaries. And I'm like, why? Primaries are gold. Like, they allow people to sharpen themselves. Even the loser is sharpening whoever the winner is, forcing them to be better. So I think that we have to pay attention to who's running. We have to listen to them and see if they resonate, have integrity, and vote for those candidates. Because together they build a coalition of people who can oversee the budget, can raise red flags. If, for example, my background's not finance, I can look at a budget and say, I don't know what's wrong here, but something's not right. And look at part of my coalition of people and say, what is it? Because I know it's not right. What is it? I think that we need each other to do that. So what I can do is learn what I don't know, ask experts who do know, and listen to my colleagues, and try to help form those coalitions of people who will push for transparency and push for honesty in our budget. I am very frugal. I tell people I grew up in the South. We had to garden and can and all that good stuff, or we didn't have vegetables in the winter. So I understand what it means to budget and live within your means. And I think the states ought to be doing that too. So I'm happy to scream my head off and form a coalition of people and ring the bell when things don't look right to me.
Absolutely. And with that, I would kind of go on to my next question. We're talking about investing, conflicts of interest. So, are you seeing that a lot in Michigan politics, that the people who are in the state capital having conflicts of interest, getting in bed with the corporations and meeting their needs instead of the people's needs?
I will say that a lot of people here feel that's the case. Because we do rank so poorly in transparency in this state, it's hard for me to determine how much of that is true. But what I will say is there is a statistic floating around that a very high percentage of our state legislators have taken money from corporations. Now, that could be as simple as, hey, the lobbyist came in and bought them lunch, to they wrote a check to their campaign. And there have been some steps towards being more transparent, but we have a long way to go. And it looks bad. Optically, it's not a good look when your representative is receiving money from energy company or a fossil fuel company or an insurance company. So I don't like it optically. I don't want it. I don't want to just stay away. Not that I think they will ask me, but I think it's hard to answer that question, but I will answer, I think, with an example. Here in Michigan, we have a monopoly electric company called DTE, and they sell the electricity to us. And there's a board that oversees price hikes from DTE, and they just received a price increase, and they've gone back to the table and asked for another one, like within a very short span of receiving the last one. And there are some wild numbers of how many of our state legislators receive funding from DTE in some capacity. So it certainly looks like that's the case. But again, without more transparency, we can't even exonerate ourselves from the accusations. So I think that's a problem for a lot of Michiganders.
As you said from the beginning, that it just slipped my mind. You said it was something you had said in the beginning, and now, and it just made sense to what you just said just now. But that just
I'm sorry, I kind of talk in circles sometimes too. I think it's from being a teacher, and I didn't sound right the first time. Let me try again.
But it was something about the transparency of it all. But it'll come back to me, I promise.
It'll come back to you for sure.
So let's do our next round table. Let's do something else you have to say. Are you good?
No, I'm good. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. This is a little more fun. Okay.
Oh, okay, because that was scary before. Okay.
Would you rather salary or hourly?
Ew, that depends. Ooh. I'm gonna say salary, but I don't know. It depends on the job.
It depends on the job. When traveling, would you rather take the interstate or the back roads?
Ooh, back roads every time.
I am an interstate girl. Let me hop on that interstate and go. Oh,
I like to stop at those hole-in-the-wall restaurants because they're the best, and you can only get them on the back roads.
All right. Now, when you're traveling far, would you rather go plane or car?
Okay, so I usually rather go in my car so I can stop and look at the country, but sometimes time. It doesn't make sense.
I get it. So on your salad, you having your dressing on the side or on top?
On top.
Okay. At the beach, are you swimming or building sandcastles?
Swimming.
Me too. Crunchy peanut butter or smooth?
Ooh, I like smooth. My mom likes crunchy.
I like smooth too. Strawberry milk or chocolate milk?
Oh, chocolate milk. Chocolate.
What's your favorite thing to barbecue?
Oh, like beef brisket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
beef
that's
brisket?
good.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a Michigan question, and you may or may not be into it, but are we going Spartans or Wolverines?
Oh, I don't. Oh, this is terrible. I am a graduate from Oakland University, so I'm go Grizzlies.
She said, I'm going Grizzlies. Look now, some people in Michigan gonna need you to pick a side. You're gonna have to figure out if you Big Blue or you Sparty now, okay?
Can I just wear blue on one side and green on the other side?
You could try.
You know, I also went to school. I went to school at Mississippi State University, which is MSU, and I went to school at the University of Memphis, which is U of M. So I say both.
You say both. All right. We already know you're gonna compromise in Congress.
I'm gonna try.
Last question. Would you rather go to the Henry Ford Museum and look at all the cars, or the Motown Museum and look at all the music?
Motown. I do like the Henry Ford Museum, but Motown, yeah.
Absolutely. I did visit Michigan myself when I was young. I think I may have been 14 or 15, and that was probably my highlight, was going to the Motown Museum. But it was between that and hopping over to Canada. Like, we got to do that. We went over to Windsor and just stopped in Canada for the day, did a little shopping, and came on back. You know, that was good times then. You probably couldn't do it today.
Well, yeah, I haven't tried. Honestly, I haven't crossed the border since the election, so I don't know. I don't know.
I don't either. We also
I've
went
crossed
to
it many times.
Big
Sorry.
Bear. We went to Big Bear Park.
Oh,
That was really
yeah.
fun as a teen too. So we
Michigan
had
is
fun.
beautiful. I don't know if some of the folks listening have been there, but or been here, but Michigan is really beautiful.
Yes, it was. I had an awesome time there. We were in Troy, so just
Oh
right
yeah, I'm
outside.
not far from Troy.
Yeah. Well, let's dive into our last topic, which is constitutional rights. You talk about expanding access to the ballot. What initiatives, as we know that elections are state ran, so what initiative will you propose to the state house to expand access to the ballot?
So Michigan, I will say, has done a really, really good job because we can vote absentee for any reason. We don't. I remember growing up in Mississippi, and I can't remember where I was going to be, but I was not going to be there for an election, and the process of getting an absentee ballot was ridiculous. You had to like prove where you were. It was crazy. Michigan is great in that way. You just sign up and they'll mail the ballot right to your house. You can take it in for early. We have 9 days of early voting here in Michigan, so it's very flexible if you are someone who works a 12-hour shift. So we have done some really great things with our voting here in Michigan. We have drop boxes. Like I said, the early voting is great. Some people like to fill out their form, study, with the computer and look up their candidates, and then just go in and feed it into the machine themselves. So I actually think we've done a good job. Well, what we need to do, because our House is currently proposing legislation very similar to the SAVE Act on a federal level. One of the things we need to do is stop that. There were two ballot initiatives in Michigan to essentially require identification to vote, and they're still circulating. I know one of them for sure is still circulating. So I think people need to be aware of that, and we need to protect what we have and not take it for granted.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. I mean, I'm on the fence. I don't necessarily fight against the idea of having to present ID to vote. Because I kind of agree with the valid argument that we use it for everything else, like to drink, to get a job, to whatever. I don't mind proving that I am me so that I can vote. Where my problem comes in is make it easier for me to get those documents.
That's the problem, right? For like, honestly, so my mother, I understand when people talk about voting at the polls, like, oh, people should show up. So I try to use my parents as examples. My father ended up breaking his spine. It's kind of a long story. He was in a coma. They didn't know if he was going to live. Anyway, he did. But being able to walk really wasn't, it was very difficult for him. My mom now is 82. She's having some health problems where when she walks around, she falls because she gets so dizzy, she literally collapses on the floor. I couldn't even get her into the car to take her to the doctor for her doctor's appointment. We called and did telehealth. I'm getting to my point. How are these people supposed to get to the polls to vote? So now you are disenfranchising people like my father, who is 3 tours in Vietnam. You're disenfranchising my mom, who spent 32 years working for the federal government. You're disenfranchising people who physically can't,
Get there.
I don't think that that's right. So I don't know how they want to do things, but that's not right. People who are in sound mind, but their physical body doesn't permit them to get to the polls. And I agree with you. If you're going to make people show identification, why does it cost $200 to get a passport? If you're a married person or anyone who changed their name. it's just, it feels like a way to prevent certain people from being able to vote, and I don't like that. So, yeah, it's very unfortunate
I hear you.
what
Like,
is happening.
yeah, and that's the pushback about it is like we know what like most people probably would not have a problem with it, but we know why you're trying to do it. And that's where the pushback comes from. Now, let's talk about redistricting. Right now there's some major thing going on in the country. And we want the country as a whole, I'm sure, want fair district maps. Would you propose legislation, or is there already legislation in the Michigan State House and Congress about who draws your maps?
So we actually redrew our maps not too well. It was like 2020, I think, is when it went into effect. 2019, and there were, I can't, don't hold me to this. I believe it was 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans, and then there was a group of independents that also were involved in redrawing the map. And to my knowledge, it wasn't viewed as negatively as what happened or tried to happen in Texas with their redistricting. So we have tried during the trifecta, our Democratic trifecta, to undo some of the stuff that was done during decades of Republican trifecta. So basically, when the Republicans held the governor's, office, the House, and the Senate. I think that our governor has been very successful in many things, but also the House and the Senate during those times, they all worked together to undo some of this stuff. So I think we have been moving in the right direction. So I in our area, I don't want to go backwards. It's so part of it. Nobody wants to just be a candidate that's against everything. I definitely have things that I'm for and I support, but then other things, I think we're on the right path, and I don't want to go backwards. And our redistricting was in the right direction.
Someone mentioned on here before that they think that right now districts federally are broken up at about 75,000 or so per district. I'm not exactly sure how the state districts go. Like you're running, in 55, they seem to be more because I find that a lot of state districts go up into the hundreds and, numbering. Do you think that the district sizes should be reduced so that there is a chance for more fair representation throughout the state?
I will have to say that I would want more information. My district is frankly pretty not 100% homogenous, but it's not as diverse as, like, there are some areas in Metro Detroit that are extreme. Like, it's extreme from one end to another. Our district is not that way. I would really like to hear from other representatives, other constituents, people around the state, to hear more about how that affects them.
Yeah.
I would say I'm open-minded. I don't see it as a huge problem for my district, but that does not mean it's not a problem for other districts. So I'm very open to hearing, their perspectives and their take on that.
Yeah, right now, your district, you would cover about 90,000 people. So that's what I'm saying. If we broke that down, that you're only representing about 50,000 or 40,000, and someone else can do another 40 or 50,000, it may, people may get more done. Where you literally cannot talk to 90,000 people.
No, you can't. No.
Right. So there's no way you can hear what everybody needs. But if you lowered your amount of people that you are responsible for, and I put that in quotes, then you might be able to hear what the people need a little easier and be able to make a bigger difference. Would you agree
Yeah,
with
I
that?
know one of the arguments against it is more staff and more salaries. And here in Michigan, the representatives are compensated well versus other states that are not. They get like 7,000 a year. Our House representatives is 72,000 a year.
Well,
So yeah, so hiring more, I can see that as an argument against it. But I take your point.
mhm.
Also, it's one reason we do say a lot in our area that local politics is very, very important, because even locally, our city council, our mayor, it's 70,000 people in one of the cities. It's a huge city. So, yeah, I think I take your point. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what that might look like. I'd like to hear more information.
Well, we just gonna have to cut y'all pay, ma'am, and just get us some more people in there. I'm sorry. I mean, just go. I'm gonna have to go down to 50,000.
It's a lot of money, though, right?
That
When you
is.
look at states like Texas and Mississippi and Alabama, like it's
Yes, you want
a
to.
lot
You
of
want to
money.
make sure you putting the right person in there that's going to be making $70,000 a year off of
And a
off of
part-time
our
job.
taxes.
I totally agree with you.
Now let's talk about some of the major issues that social issues that are being pushed against today, like reproductive freedoms, LGBTQIA plus rights, and discrimination. Those things are, coming to the floor in the country. How do you feel Michigan squares with those major social issues? And just be careful when you talk about this. When you talk about the stoppage of a pregnancy, you have to say either that or say AB. They don't like that full word on TikTok. So
Okay.
just wanted to put that out there.
I will try really hard because I don't want to get. So here in Michigan, we passed Prop 3. So we have enshrined reproductive choice freedom. I made a video about this so that, because people ask me, I get asked all the time, and I am frustrated that we have to talk about this in 2026. I really am, frankly. But so I always tell the story of being an oncology nurse. A patient comes in thrilled to be pregnant, diagnosed with leukemia. Treatment is it's going to cause a stoppage in her pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
She and her husband cried all night and they ultimately made the decision to not proceed with the pregnancy because it would have ended her life.
Mm-hmm.
Another patient, completely different, diagnosed, makes the opposite decision, and she ends up passing away when her child is a toddler. Each woman got to make their own decision. And frankly, our state legislators have no business, our federal government has no business being in the room. That is a private decision, and I will stand by that. In all circumstances, it's not my choice.
Let me just say that's one of the best examples I've ever heard of why it is our choice, because both of them women had the right to make that choice. No one had the right to tell her she couldn't do that, and so she could save her life. Like, what? That was the best example I've heard in a long time. Go ahead with the other issues.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's I will never want. It's not my business. I feel the same way about the LGBTQ community. I identify as an ally, but we have gotten involved in these, what we call culture wars, right? People have a right to be happy, and they have a right to love who they want to love. and it's none of my, as long as everyone's legal, as long as no one's getting hurt, that's not my business. So yeah, I think Michigan as a whole, I think that we respect each other in our community. I would say we respect each other and we respect each other's choices. When it comes to discrimination, because I teach linguistics, I'm very aware of people's language. I'm very keen on. Oh, I heard that you just said that. I heard you said that slightly racist thing right there. And so I think that Michigan is improving. But I think there's always room to do better and to be better. So I do try to teach that to my students. Oh, you know that word that you say to refer to this group of people? They view that as kind of not nice. So I think having those conversations continually, but also having our laws reflect that we respect all people is important. And I think for me, that's one reason that the SAVE Act and the initiative here in Michigan to do something very similar is offensive. I have a friend who was diagnosed with breast cancer, who is an immigrant, and she's afraid to receive treatment because she's afraid of being picked up, despite having papers. You know, this is not an environment where all Michiganders are thriving, and I don't like that. I want us to feel safe to receive medical care, pick our kids up from school. So that discrimination piece, I think more with our non-native English-speaking community is a bigger problem, especially being on the border with Canada, being a border state.
Absolutely. So currently your district is red. Has a
Pink.
well, the incumbent is on the red side. And we gonna turn it back blue, right?
You know, it hasn't been blue in a while, and there hasn't been a woman represent this district in more than a generation, since the 90s.
Oh, wow.
So it's more than past time to take this seat. And I think this is the moment to do that. People are frustrated, and the current incumbent, he presents as very moderate. However, he now has a longer voting record. We have 12-year term limits here in Michigan, and he's currently this is his third term in office. So a 12-year limit. Sorry, I don't know if I said that quite right. So he's in year 6, and he's getting more comfortable with his votes and his posts on X, which are getting more offensive. So I think this is a time to show people that this person you thought was moderate is in fact not that moderate. But it needs to be shown to them.
Absolutely. Is he promoting the person in the White House at this moment?
He has been very careful not to do that. But what he does do is our current Speaker of the House does promote the person in the White House, and our incumbent votes with him and, has aligned himself in that direction. But the thing is, he sings and has a beautiful voice, and sometimes people translate beautiful sound into good voting.
With good voting.
And they're not the same.
Well, Miss Rhonda, this has been a great conversation. I'm gonna invite anyone up if you have any questions for Miss Rhonda. We have touched on healthcare, which she's a nurse, and so she knew a lot about that. We've touched on education, which she was a teacher and taught English as a second language to many people. So we touched on that. We've touched on rights. We've touched on corporations and how we got to get them out of here and make sure they're paying their fair share. So if you have any questions for her, Please come up, and if not, put them in the chat and I will read them to her. At this time, I'm going to give you a couple of closing questions,
Okay.
and we're going to wrap this on up. Now, if elected, what measurable outcomes should constituents expect from you within the first 2 years of office? And how will you report back to ensure transparency and accountability?
The second part of that is super easy. I like to be very available. I check my email. My students will tell you, actually, this semester's been rough because I'm running for office while I'm teaching. So I've been a little bit more slow, but typically in 24 hours, I try to get, obviously, if I'm getting thousands of emails, that's different. But coffee hours, chats, being available it's easy. As a teacher, I have to do that. So that's not a real change. Measurable outcomes that's an excellent question. And I don't know that I have a fantastic answer. I think it depends on the composition of the house. If the house is still run by our current speaker, he's not going to allow things to go to the floor. So it's going to appear that no one's doing anything. But I think I really want to work with nurses and healthcare to improve our healthcare system. And there are some bills that I would love to be a part of. It's in the works right now, but there's some bills for our firefighters and our police officers and things that hopefully will get passed. But if not, I think improving the lives of our healthcare workers and our patients, getting some bills through and raising some issues, at least writing some bills for transparency and accountability. They may not get to the House floor, but I think building those coalitions, and also one thing I'm really interested in is helping people age better at home, like getting their medical care at home, finding ways to work within the system so that we can have more home health, so that our elderly don't have to be institutionalized to receive the health that they need. So things like that. And I want people to hold me accountable, but I also want them to hold everyone else accountable too. Like, yeah, it's a team sport.
And you said you don't have a fantastic answer, but I thought that was an absolute fantastic answer, because that is what happens, is that people make all these promises and then they go into, whether it's DC state capital, DC capital or your state capital. If the people there aren't willing to vote on what you propose, you don't have the infrastructure to get this stuff to the floor, nothing's going to happen. So that means it's up to you guys. If you vote in the people that will help her, she will help you. Right?
That's 100%. That's 100%. I want to promise people that this is going to get done, but with the current speaker, as long as the Republicans hold the House, I can fight and scream and call them out, and I plan to do it. But I can't force them to vote on bills or even bring a bill to the House floor.
Understood.
Yeah.
Again, I thank you so much for coming and sitting and talking with us today. It has been such a pleasure. I do feel your genuineness. I really hope that you get to get in that state house and make some real changes for Michigan. Remind everyone when your primary is, and how they can reach out to you, support you, find you on all the socials.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So my primary is on August the 4th. So we're kind of late, not as late as some states, but we're kind of late. So it's in August. My website is rhondayates.com, and it's Rhonda Yates on Facebook and Instagram and Blue Sky and X and TikTok. So I'm pretty easy to find, and I would love to reach out and talk with everyone.
Are you taking donations?
Oh my gosh, yes, of course, always. Volunteers, and you don't have to live here, and donations, absolutely, thank you. Yes, through Act Blue, but the link is on my website.
Thank you. Well, you'll be encouraged to know that 3 states had primaries yesterday, and out of them 3 states, we had almost 15 people win their primaries of people
Yeah.
that we've done town halls with.
That's amazing.
Isn't that
And I
amazing?
know you do
So
good work, and I see people in the chat saying get involved in local politics. Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely.
absolutely. So we're super excited about that. That we had some winners come on here,
Yes.
and that we platformed last night. So that is excellent news. So as she just said, getting involved in your local politics, and the way you could do that is come and see us tomorrow. Oh no, not tomorrow. A little later today at 9:00 in about 30 minutes. We have one more town hall tonight with Jeff Pixley in Oklahoma, and he's running for the U.S. House District 4. So Oklahoma, U.S. House District 4, 9:00. She's running for the state house. He's running for the big house. But not that kind of big house. Jeff Pixley is coming up tonight, y'all. So make sure you y'all stick around for another 30 minutes. We'll be right back on to have a conversation with Jeff. Again, I appreciate you coming today, Miss Rhonda. We have our roundtables. Thank you, OVC. We have our roundtables every other Sunday. We just did one on the 1st. We have another one coming up on the 15th. So if you would like to join us with that, just come on through. We would love to add you to the panel, have conversation with other people that are running for state seats or federal seats. And then y'all could just kind of do some brainstorming, talk about the issues that's happening today, really see how everybody's on the same page. So I invite you to come to, if you can't come to the 15th, we have another one on the 29th on Sundays at 3 p.m.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Also, something really fun we have been putting together is our Creative Caucus. That is happening this Saturday at 7, on the 7th at 5 p.m. And what we did was we decided to pull a bunch of TikTok creators together that focus on politics and see what they've been hearing from the people that visit their lives, and really get some answers from them about what the people want. So this will be really helpful for some candidates to listen in on so that they'll know what the people are really looking for, and it may help them shape their campaign a little better. So I invite you all to come to that again on March 7th, which is Saturday at 5 p.m. from 5 to 8. Please come and let everybody else know too. Spread the word. I thank you all for joining us tonight. As you see here, you can come do this too. Talk to great candidates like Rhonda, be a moderator like myself. So if you are interested in that, make sure you DM Our Vote Counts. I'd like to thank Our Vote Counts for hosting us tonight. I'd like to thank the whole team for putting this together, making sure we can highlight another candidate who hopefully will win her race too. Let me just remind you all again of who we are. We are Our Vote Counts OVC, a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity, and ensure that every voice is heard. Through education, outreach, accountability, and action, we're building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. So make sure you continue to join us because your vote is your power. Thank you all. Y'all have a good night.